Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call. Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call podcast. I am Melissa Deely, your host, and very excited to have Diana Devi here with me today. Welcome to the show, Diana.
Thank you so much, and I'm really excited to be here.
And very excited for you to share your story, Diana. And we are doing this as part of a little mini podcast exchange here. I don't have your bio in front of me right this moment, so I would love to ask for you to introduce yourself, please.
Yes. So I work with primarily women in midlife, menopausal, and women that have many times been told that either it's all in your head, you're too old, there's nothing that can be done about it, or feel like an alien has inhabited their body. Just lack of a better term, because it's like, whose body is this and how did I get in here? But that's kind of the people that I work with. And I say that because that was my experience for me. Mm-hmm. And my background is I'm a clinical pharmacist. I've done that for decades. And I also am an Argentine tango dancer and instructor. And so I've been
very cool.
And I love it. It's absolutely fabulous. And I, in my 50s, started noticing that I wasn't feeling right. My brain wasn't working well. I really didn't understand what was going on. I was sleeping, but not getting good sleep, all of those things. So being in healthcare, you go to a physician. She runs some tests. I go in. I'm like, I'm going to find out what's going on. And she looks at me and she says, "You're getting old. There's nothing that can be done. And stop trying to be young."
Wow.
So, I know.
Not positive at all. Not at all what you wanted to hear.
And especially not from a woman.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm like, okay. And so at first I was like this, all, shoulders down and just like, oh my God, I can't continue to live this way. And the great thing about this is I went through the process and then I got mad. It's like, how dare you tell me that this is the way I feel, that whole thing.
I love it. You didn't take on that story. You got mad and rejected it. Good for you.
I got mad and rejected it because I was like, I'm not giving up dancing, and I'm going to do this until, forever, until the day that I die. I'm going to dance, and I am not accepting this. So I started on a journey to really figure out what I could do. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that once you start to understand, for example, you don't feed a 20-year-old the same as you feed a toddler. So correct. Why do we think we would feed a 50-year-old body the same as we fed a 20-year-old body? It doesn't make sense, but we look at it in a different way. We don't really understand how things change, and that it's actually a good thing. It's a good thing.
Because none of this is taught through the education system, right? You've had to go and seek out the information yourself, as I had to when I got out of the corporate world and found myself being guided into health coaching. That's where I went, oh my goodness, I'm in my late 40s and never knew any of this about my own body. And how many other women don't, right?
Exactly. And they don't really, from the pharmacy perspective, I know that 99% of the studies that have been done on white men.
Men,
right?
Exactly. White men, not just men, white men.
Not just men, but white men, right? And so women are not just tiny men. Women are
Oh,
women, and
no.
we're a lot different. So
And they
as
choose to do that because they find women's bodies too complicated because of our cycles, and they don't want to have to factor all of that into the analysis. Therefore, they exclude women from the testing group.
and we're really too emotional. I mean, you can't, there's that whole side of it. And I'm like, well, yeah, coming from someone who bottles up all their emotions. And anyway, so I started investigating because I liked movement. I'd studied about nutrition because it's very much involved in what you do from medication perspective, and really decided I'm going to do this myself. So
And
I
I have a quick
started,
question for you, just because you
yeah,
said you were a clinical pharmacist.
yeah,
I'm assuming when you went through pharmacy school, there wasn't any nutrition taught in any aspect of that training. No.
none whatsoever.
Right.
No, anything about nutrition. In fact, there were, and I went through a period of time where I was a vegetarian and tried to find information about protein and protein consumption and all those kinds of things. And there wasn't much. I mean, there really wasn't a lot
Right.
that was in existence. It's come a long way since then,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn it because I read and
Right.
studied. That's
And
how
you
I
went
learned about
seeking the information yourself.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started on this path, and then I had tango students that would come to me, and women, and they'd be like, well, I'm here for a tango lesson, but I really want to know what it is that you're doing because you look differently, you move differently, what's going on. And so that's how I really got started into it, is because people could see the change in me.
Right.
And having been through it myself, understanding the pain associated with not knowing what's going on and not being able to figure it out. I happen to have a background that would allow me to do that investigation, but many women don't.
Right. Or not even that, they just simply don't make the time for it because they're busy in their career and they're raising children, et cetera, et cetera. And
Yes,
life is busy. And again, we're programmed for life to be busy, right? Keep doing, doing, doing. And
yes,
the other aspect of the programming is that we women just have to tolerate this, right? Again, there's no education around menopause. There's education around puberty in the classroom, which is also delivered in the most ridiculous way in co-ed classrooms with nothing's going in because the girls are all sitting there far too embarrassed that we're having conversations about our menstrual cycle in front of the boys in the room.
yes.
And there's no point even introducing menopause at that point because it's, 40 years down the road and they don't care. So, where
That's
do we
exactly
learn
right.
about it? The way we learn about it is by asking our sisters, our mothers, our friends, and then they go, oh, yeah, yeah, well, it's insomnia and the night sweats and the hot flashes, and they give you all of the symptoms. So then when it's your turn, now you've been programmed to believe that's what's supposed to happen and this is normal. And you now know from your training, and I know from my training, it isn't normal. That's your body speaking to you and asking you to do something different.
And I think that's the biggest lesson associated with even perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause is that your body is saying to you, all right, we've had enough.
Yes.
It's time for you to pay attention to us being what we need and our bodies and what's going on. We've sacrificed so much for everyone else for so long. And
Yes.
now it's time to stop.
Yes. Totally. And yet, most people don't realize that. And so that's why, thank you for your time and coming on this podcast today and having this conversation with me because women are going to hear this. And hopefully, they're women that haven't yet hit menopause. And so that they can now be aware that these symptoms are literally our body talking to us saying, guess what? Your hormones are out of balance. And then they know that you can actually do something about that, right? And there's natural ways that we can support estrogen and progesterone levels, testosterone if we need to. When I ended up at the naturopathic doctor as I was in perimenopause, she ran a functional medicine test on my hormones and all three were low. She's like, how are
Yeah.
you still standing? I'm like, I don't know, but let's resolve this. And we did.
Do I have a choice?
Yeah, exactly. Let's resolve this. And we did. And so I was able to move through menopause with ease because I was working with a holistic practitioner. I was able to see the lab tests, and it was just saliva tests that we did, and
Yeah.
and rebalance my hormones. And that's the message that, you're here sharing, that I'm sharing, that we want women to know is you don't have to suffer through.
And I think people underestimate both people being the women that are having this, as well as some of the practitioners that see women, is the stress level that you're in
Mm-hmm.
impacts
Oh,
significantly
yes.
how your hormones vacillate. And
100%.
rather than starting with loading up on a bunch of drugs, start looking at, and so some of the things I do are breathing techniques, or it might be a short meditation, or my favorite is to put on a song and dance in the kitchen,
Yep.
because whatever it is that is for you. And
Right.
it's starting with those kinds of things, but it actually begins with recognition of what is going on and what is happening, and knowing that you have options.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And when we focus on all of those things, we're rebalancing our cortisol levels back to what they should be instead of being in fight or flight. And that's also helping improve sleep. And so many people are sleep deprived these days, right?
Absolutely. Sleep is, and if you don't have your sleep, you can't lose weight, you can't think clearly, you can't rid your body of all the toxins that it has. I always describe sleep as when the nighttime cleaning crew comes through and
Yes,
cleans your brain and your body out, right?
totally.
But if you're not able to get the good quality sleep, then it again adds stress and a lot of challenges associated with you feeling good. To feel
Absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
man, this is, and for me, midlife is my time, right?
Yes.
For me to invest in me.
Mm-hmm.
And you take your car in for routine maintenance, right?
Yep.
I mean, most of us do change the tires, put oil in, all of that kind of stuff. Um, and so thinking of our body as something that we're a caretaker for
Yes.
changes things a lot too.
Exactly. We wouldn't go and, put dirty gasoline or dirty oil into the car. We wouldn't fill up the car with whatever liquid we could find and expect it to run if we weren't near a gas
Exactly.
station, right? And yet, what do we put in our bodies? If we're not intentional about our eating, then we can find ourselves filling our bodies with a lot of crap. Not to mention the food industry is offering a lot of crap and marketing a lot of food that is not helping our bodies be able to thrive.
One of the things that, and this is a habit that my mom actually did, because she had a full-time job when we were growing up, and she would spend part of her day on Sunday doing meal prep. And the meal
Mm.
prep, she would do the protein. So then when you make a big pot of chili and you freeze part of it, or spaghetti sauce or whatever. So really starting to understand, so that when you have something that you need on demand, you
Yes,
come home, you don't have time, don't stop at McDonald's. Go home and you've got stuff in the freezer that's ready to go, that's healthy and good for you, and will make you actually feel better after you eat it.
100%. Yep. Where we talk the same talk. I love it. I love
Yes.
it, Diana. And it's what I do myself, even just my training programs when we run those, they're 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. There's marking in the evenings and responding to student questions, etc. So I love to set myself up for success by prepping just a couple of meals ahead of time in bulk, and then I alternate them. And then I know that I can eat at whatever time my body needs to be fueled, and that I don't have to put any prep time into it during that time period because I've got my stews and my soups and my lentil dishes all made, and I can just pick what I want and eat it and save myself of the reaching for crap, right? I
Exactly.
let myself get too hungry. And we've all been there. We've all done that. And if it happens every once in a while, that's fine. If it's happening most of the time, then the body has to deal with all of it, and it's really hard on the body.
It is. One of the other things I talk with people about is before you reach for food, take a drink of water
Yes, that's a good one.
and see if after you've had a little bit of water, how you feel. If it makes you feel better, if it really has addressed, because sometimes we get a signal and we don't really know what that signal means because we've been stifling those signals for so long. So that in and of itself is, and
Yeah.
for me, it's okay. I'm going to put it in a pretty glass, and I'm going to drink it, and it's
Mine's my mug of tea that's traveled with me all over the world and whatever tea
there you
bag I
go.
have going, always herbal teas. This is green ginger today. And yeah, always on the go. So
Yeah,
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 hydration is so important.
it is. And the other thing about this is compassion for yourself
Hmm.
because we continue to drive ourselves and say, well, when I was 20, I used to be able to do this. And it's like, you could, but it was really hard on your body. And just because, and I kind of go back to the Jurassic Park quote, which is just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right. Yes,
Right.
exactly. And we weren't
And
smart
we
enough in our 20s to know better. Let's face it.
didn't have any idea. And we didn't have the
Exactly.
responsibilities that we do
Right.
now.
Right.
So you could crash for a day and it would be okay.
Right.
Most of us can't do that now. So looking at, and it is establishing that communication and that relationship with your body so that eventually you understand what your body's telling you rather than having to have somebody else tell you what you need. So you
Exactly.
start that training. I had back when I was doing a lot of pharmacy work, and the setting that I was in was a little bit different in that it's intravenous medication. So these people were a lot of times very sick. And I remembered I called this gentleman and I asked him, well, how do you feel today? Because you want to know how the medications are impacting, if they're getting better, those kinds of things. And his response to me was, I don't know. You tell me, what do the labs say? And I'm like, wrong answer,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because totally shutting
So
down.
out of touch. Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes you may not like the answer that you get. And so it might be that, you know, no, it's not a good idea to eat that or to drink that. But in the long run, you're making the choice for you.
Yeah. Totally. Each and every choice is always made for us. And are we looking at the long run or are we looking at this moment in time right now and nothing beyond that?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I love this, Diana. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing this with me and how far you've come from, starting out as a pharmacist and then realizing when you had your own health journey that that wasn't the answer and that you looked and went out and sought other answers. And thank you for coming and sharing that. And it is an important message for all women that menopause is a beautiful stage in our life. And as you said, an opportunity to come into our own and a time for ourselves. And we can navigate it beautifully when we choose to listen to our bodies, recognize that our bodies are talking to us, and then look at what do I need to adjust in my life. And you help people do that, getting in touch, particularly with the high stress levels and calming the nervous system, which then can help that in and of itself can help rebalance hormones, as can detoxing and letting the liver do its job again, etc. So love, love, love all of that. And go ahead, you want to say something
I
there?
was just going to say, and movement seems to be something that people don't understand how it changes everything as
Mm-hmm.
well. Because
Yep.
it changes mood, it changes, parts of the brain get stimulated. There's pleasure sensations associated with movement, all of those kinds of things, and looking at that as something to incorporate in. And
Yes.
it's not that that means you have to go to the gym. It means you find the movement that excites you and that you want to do.
Exactly.
Because then I have a lady who she loves pickleball. She
Hmm.
plays all over the Twin Cities, which is where I am. She started going to the gym and work out to build strength because she wants to play pickleball better.
Right.
That to me is that's finding your perfect movement. That's
Yes.
finding something that you love, not something that you're told you have to do.
Yes. True enough. And think back to when you were a child and what did you love to do? Because maybe you still love to do it now, right? You moved a lot as a child. What was it?
Mine
So,
was dancing.
yeah,
I pick up dances, you know?
exactly. And now here you are still dancing. And I love to dance in my kitchen too. So, yeah, beautiful. So, Diana, I love to ask every guest that comes on this show, what does don't wait for your wake up call mean to you?
It means that you can start today. You can start today in small ways. It doesn't have to be anything big. It doesn't have to be a huge commitment that takes forever. Start with just 5 minutes, and you would be surprised how much that can change everything.
Yes, love that. So, if somebody wants to work with you, Diana, what's the best way for them to get hold of you?
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, on Facebook. Those are all an ageless life. My podcast is Midlife Reset. And then they can go to my website, anagelesslife.com, all one word, or they can email me at Diana at an ageless life.
Wonderful. I'll have all of that in the show notes. And is there any last words of wisdom that you would like to share with the audience before we wrap this episode?
Um, there are only three species in which the females live past childbearing years. Humans are one of them. We are divinely here for a reason. Let's step into it.
Love that. Love that. Thank you so much, Diana, for being here on the show. It's such a pleasure to have this conversation with you. And to my audience, thank you for your interest in your health and tuning in each and every week in order to learn how you can improve your health and your entire health journey. I am excited to share with you Quantum Life Mastery School. This is what we offer through Amplify Impact Academy, among many other trainings. However, this is our gold standard training. This is the training that allows you to become one of the top 1% of coaches in the world. That as a master practitioner, once you complete this training, you will be able to guarantee your results in writing to your clients because you are working with neurology and they will no longer be able to do their problem after you've rewired that neurology. Through this Quantum Life Mastery Schools, you will get 4 designations as a master practitioner of NLP, a master practitioner of timeline therapy, a master practitioner of hypnotherapy, and a master practitioner of NLP results coaching. And throughout this program, we build on the learnings as you go through the practitioner training as well as some personal growth trainings to get to that master practitioner level. And this work is so powerful. You will literally, in just working with clients for 10 to 12 hours, transform their lives. And even better, this isn't just for coaches. We call it Quantum Life Mastery Skills because this is literally life skills. We've had people come through that want to be better parents, better partners, better leaders at work. One fellow came through because he knew the power of mindset with his golf game. He wanted to improve his golf game. When you do this work for yourself, your life improves, regardless of whether you're a coach. And the ripple effect of your life improving and up-leveling yourself has profound positive impact on your family and loved ones as well. So check out the link in the show notes to the Amplify Impact Academy Quantum Life Mastery School.